I want Tripp tell this story because he's one of the few that done it. Tripp was involved in an auto-rotation, which, if you don't know what auto-rotation is, all the flight people will, and anybody watching this, probably, I doubt you know anybody med crew-wise that's had to go through a true auto-rotation, but Tripp had an incident one night when he was flying, and he got to be in an event where somebody auto-rotated emergency to the ground, which auto-rotation is when a helicopter's basically landing without power. They're using the air that, as they descend, to turn the blades to slow their descent to the ground. So it wasn't like they were coming in to land with power, the engine turning. They were using the force of the air coming through the blades.
Gravity stored energy, inertia in that blade.
Yeah, to slow them down enough to make a landing without power. Yeah, that's an emergency procedure.
So that was pretty neat, and I'll go get a little in depth on this in some points because I want to brag on the company too on this. But we were coming back from Atlanta. Luckily, patient unloaded. We were RTV, and just flying through the night. It was black. I had my little NVGs down. I'm flying, kind of looking. I like to look on my phone. I'd like to look on there and see kind of where I was because you can't see the Garmin up there. So I don't know where I'm at in the world. I check mine every once in a while. Where are we at? I'm like, Taylor County. I know about where I'm at. We head towards Butler. And just flying through. And me and the nurse, it was part-time and new. His, I think, third or fourth flight, maybe less. And
I can't imagine my third flight having to auto-rotate. I'd probably crap my pants.
A new pilot to us.
Yeah.
A new pilot to us. So my part-time self's the most experienced person on aircraft at this point with air evac, with our systems and what we do. So we're just flying through the night, having a good old time. And I hear the loudest bangs I've ever heard. Just the loud noise, just bow. Just an awful noise, and then followed by one or two more. But the initial one was really loud. The other ones were pretty loud. And then before the pilot says anything, he just rolls right. And I don't know why. I think, oh, no, I think something's come through the windshield and hit him. And I'm thinking, this is not good. And I'll never forget the first thing I thought. All the training they teach us, look, where are we at? Where's the field? Where's the clear to land? That is where I went to pretty quickly, 9 o'clock, low, small trees. But my first thought was, I didn't know I was going to know I was dying. That's the first thing that crossed my mind was like, I think I'm about to die, and I know it's coming. I don't think I've ever planned in my mind for knowing I may have time to realize this is it. And that uncomfortable feeling of, crap, And then it went to, now we need to figure out how to survive. What do I do to help? I'm just self-loading baggage in the back with NVGs on, right? So I look, and I'm like, hey, 9 o'clock load. Ask pilot, we good? We good? And he's like, I'm putting it down. And it's like, putting it down. That's all. Like, fine. Trees, 9 o'clock, low, small trees, low pine trees. We can land in that. And I knew where we were, so I kind of knew the area. He said, put it in the road. Ready? You just let me know what to do. At this point, I have no control other than to sit back here and pray at this point. So we come in, auto-rotate into the highway. And at dark, not knowing where the power lines were, as you know, once you get towards the end there, that's not when you want to tangle the power line. And we made contact with the asphalt, and then we hopped a couple of times and bounced on down the road there. And at that point, I was so glad to be on the ground. I've never been so happy for that aircraft to not be in there in my life.
So when you first hit it, or when you first started auto-rotate, was there a drop, or was it pretty?
Yes, it was pretty quick. But he rolled. We had an initial drop, and then he rolled off right. What he was doing, he didn't talk to us because he was handling everything he could do at the point. What I didn't realize is he was trying to get lined up on the road. I thought he didn't say, hey, we have a problem, I'm going to turn right, which perfectly in his right. You handle the aircraft and then us second. We'll deal with it back there. My poor little, you got to know it all brain like yours is thinking we're dying at this point.
Yeah. What the hell's going on?
Yeah. You need to talk to me. I'm worried. And he was lining up on the roads, what he was doing. So, yes, we were descending at a fast rate of speed. We were a lot of forward momentum, a lot of loss of altitude. Like our
So what was the bang?
That was a bird. We had a bird strike, which always happens. I'm sure you had a bird strike, right?
Oh, yeah.
Well, our bird strike happened to be in the cowling, so it was a bird strike with ingestion is the term. In other words, our bird hit inside the cowling and went through the turbine. Went through the motor, and then the compressor stalling and banging. That engine was not happy and was popping and banging. And so he determined, I don't know how healthy this engine is, so I'm going to drop power and let's just put it in the road because he doesn't want it coming apart.
Yeah, no.
So, because we're up at 1,000, 1,200 foot, whatever we're at. So we bounce down the road and get out, and there's some other long part of that story, but I get out and I figure out where I'm at. So I told my nurse, I was like, just call 911. I got a phone call to make. A very good friend of mine lived right there. So I called my buddy Ted and I was like, Ted, are you at home? Yes. I said, get out, hit the highway, and come back the other direction, head back north. We just had a hard landing in an aircraft. We're in the middle of the road. I just need somebody to stop traffic because we're in a curve. And so the story from his wife is Ted runs out of the house throwing clothes on to get in the truck, talking about tripping them, just crashed in the road. I got to go. He doesn't tell him that I'm okay or anything. She's now worried, and he's leaving. So he gets in there, and he gets out there and blocks and tries to slow traffic down. Then subsequently, everybody shows up. But the pilot did his job. He got us to the ground. We were all safe there.
Like how high were y'all flying? Were y'all like 1,000 foot or something? Or like,
somewhere, I don't remember exactly, but somewhere 900, 1,100 AGL. Somewhere in that range.
So, like, how long before y'all on the ground?
It felt like a while. I don't think it was.
Yeah.
It felt like a long time. But it really wasn't that far. If you look from where we kind of started the approach and where we landed, it couldn't have been too long. It was long enough that I had time to really start having some real life thoughts. Start making some promises. You know what I mean? Like, it was So, and the quickest person, the first person, because our leadership at the time, the person that was over my base, or still is, over that base, was a good ways away. Do you know the first person I saw was a friendly face from that base? Brian Barnes. Brian came to rescue me. Brian came to rescue. What a great face to see, after that, because I was, as you can imagine, a little shaken, a little nervous.
Yeah.
So he got us back to the base. Of course, we had the rest of the shift off. And this is where I'm going to brag on the company. So nobody's fault. That's part of it. Mm-hmm. You can't control the birds come, especially at night. You can't even see the thing. I mean, everything was done by the book. Everything was done as we should have. Just bad luck.
Yeah.
So after that, I was like, well, I'm good. I survived. I guess everything's fine. Well, they sent me. Somebody called me from corporate that does the peer support. I forget what they call that. He said, man, I just want to talk to you. He said, I'm from Kentucky. Told me his name. Still remember it this day. I hope I meet him one day. He said, I just want to talk to you, man. Tell me what happened. So we go through it, and this is a full 36 hours later, probably-ish, pretty close. It was within less than 2 days. He's like, tell me what about this? And I start telling him, and I start realizing something. I don't remember the details very well. Like, I've already scrubbed some details. Like, things aren't as clear to me as they should have been on how this worked. And that's when I also had the realization that I'm not sure that's not how we get through EMS. That our mind sees something that happens is very terrible, that is very traumatic to us. Mm-hmm. And it starts going, scrub.
Oh, look, I know.
Get it going. Let's file that back. We don't need to remember that very well. Put it back somewhere. So I think, and I was like, man, I don't remember. He's like, that's pretty normal. Your mind is hiding it. That's fine. That's why I'm talking to you, because I want you to work through it. And so he's like, all right. He talked to me, man. We just had a great conversation. Never met the guy before ever. Dan, nice guy. And he said, when's your next shift? I was like, I got one next week in Perry, because I was flying part-time at the time. He's like, cool. Know that crew? You know the pilot real well? You know them? I'm like, no, I never flown that pilot. What about, you're a nurse, I've never flown with them either, but I know the base. He's like, okay, that's cool. So I'm going to pull you off that shift. And it's like, oh, man, I'm good. I got it. I'm fine. I mean, I'm good. I'm here. I'm fine. I'm good. Buddy, I appreciate it. He's like, no, don't worry about the pay and all. We'll handle that. But I'm going to call and make sure you pull it off that. Your next flight needs to be with somebody you fly with, one of your pilots, one of your nurses. You need to be with somebody to be comfortable. Man, I'm a guy. I'm good.
Yeah.
And so I agreed to it because that's what they said it needed to be done, and I'm okay. I'll do it. So sure enough, it was about a week after that, I was back at my home base with my people. And, man, we got us a flight. I'm ready to go. Threw my helmet on, jumped in, walk around. Everything's good. Get in, take off. I wasn't as good as I thought I was. That aircraft would something. We'd hit a little air pocket and jump, and I'd tense up real quick. And I'd never done that before. And so he was right. I was comfortable. And my nurse at the time saw me and come tell me, you guys, like, oh, I am a little jumpier than I've ever been. So, but I mean, I could still maintain patient care. I was perfectly good, but he was right. I was totally wrong on that. I did need to be with some people I was comfortable with. I didn't need to be in some people I didn't know, didn't trust fully. Just when you fly with a new pilot, no matter how good they are, they're not as comfortable. You're not as comfortable with them every time the aircraft does something a little weird as it's your pilot. So they did a good job, man. They checked in on me, made sure everything was good. I actually 51% of the flight shortly after that, due to some other reasons, I didn't feel comfortable. My nurse picked up on it too. Yeah, was like, "What's wrong with you?" She'd flown me a good bit. It's like, "What's wrong with you?" I was like, "I just don't feel good." And so I 51% of that flight because of some things that had transpired prior to that, just on a feeling. I was not met with, well, I mean, should you even be flying then? If you're not, why are you picking up shifts if you're not comfortable? It was, good job not taking that flight. Another aircraft can handle it. Good job calling it. good job pulling yourself out of that situation. I mean, they were so supportive. I've got nothing good thing to say about how that company handled that. The story on that was we went out to take this flight, walked out, everything. We just left the aircraft. We'd just been in enough to eat and walked out there to do something. I walked back to do something, maybe get my helmet or put it back out there. I don't remember. I walked back. Well, we got the flight. I walked back out to the aircraft, and there was a dead bird beside my door. And it just gave me the worst feeling. I might have had just within the prior couple months had a bird strike with injection, and that bird wasn't there. And I even, when it initially happened, I said, I don't want to take this flight. I don't feel comfortable. And I walked back towards the hangar and was going to tell them, I don't want to do this. And I was like, no, man up. Quit. So I walked my butt back to that aircraft, and that's when she noticed that something wasn't right. And I was like, I'm not good. I was like, that's it. We're done. Pilot was like, okay, cool. Why? No hard feelings. Why? I was like, well, good. Called dispatch and let them know. Said, we're not doing this. Send somebody else.